I'll try and pray in my mother tongue. Let's bow our head in prayer. Nabi singa bibi naka kemisa da ulimwenguni kuwa nabi yalo kidha randami tukana sibinani kuwa turanga ni tikuti kikimami na itukutubu leu kimisa tupana kidhi chingwa na bisebro bur ndur merin dambe na matintini kalu merin tikabu abalu na lebu nabi yalo kidha rando batamai bet kikito na itoki viti na wale turanga na Tuilomaloma na wale tangamaki na wale na awai na thangi na bika kidha ni sangarabo ngona ni memas ngana tani. Amen. The prayer is really simple. I've just asked the unity of what we call our Father, which is in us, that is also in heaven, to actually be the guide and be the gratefulness of all we are and all we are doing, and in this unity. And because we are discussing a very important topic of the what we call the essence of who we are truly as the resemblance of the Creator, that is ultimately in our mind, in our thought, and in our words, and in our character. And this is ultimately what is called the law of the land. And I thank you again to all of you, my sovereign brothers and sisters, wherever you are. It's such a blessing and honor to be here in this discussion. It's really, really important for me to say those words before we actually start, because the heart of this matter is all of you, and the true awareness of who you are wherever you are at on this planet. And it's my privilege and honor and a blessing. I count it as an honor and a blessing to be here discussing this fundamental topic of the law of the land, the law of the sea. And I really, really looking forward to all the discussion that we all together. And I hope that what I will discuss today will be a means of blessing to all of you, and to actually further your understanding, and to be able to help you in together and in our restoration of this destruction and the changes that has happened, and to help us get everything back into alignment. And thus the law of the land is ultimately the people. And this is why I will say thank you to all of you first, because you are the law of the land. And this is maybe I'm just speaking it in words, and it sounds really not very important, but this is the most important thing on this planet. And the reason why we will spend time to do this, to actually fully understand the sovereignty that you ultimately have and how it can be restored. And I'm very thankful that I've been able to discuss the law of the sea for the past few sessions that we had. And the more we discuss it, the more people all over, and the more all of us in this discussion will be able to master the law of the sea. And so because there's multi-perspective to the same law, and it all applies. And I think it's really, really important for the people all over the world to understand these different perspectives, to do with trading, to do with the monetary system, to do with the political system, to do with the judiciary. These are all different dimensions that needs to be at least have a basic understanding on how it all works and how it comes together, and how we will be able to take steps to restore ourselves from the influences that that has been affecting all of us in the whole planet, especially the trickery and the words that they use to bind us and blind us, and not being able to come out of it, and be subservient to all these hidden laws, and not become victims and subservient to these laws, because ultimately we are the creator of the laws. We are the grantor of the agreements and the contracts that is established on the planet. And now it's just time for us to realize what our power is, and what truly the ability that we have as sons and daughters of the living Creator, and the way we'll have to take up responsibility and stand on land and not drown under the sea, so to speak. I will start with the basic fundamentals of the law of the land, which is derived from the Bible, the book of Exodus. Um, the the Ten Commandments, and how the Ten Commandment is embodied in in the physical body and in our relationship with others or with other sovereign being. Sovereignty is a very very big topic of fully full understanding. And the more we discuss upon it, the more dimensions we can actually understand what sovereignty is to an individual. I always like to begin from the Ten Commandments, and which is summarized in the New Testament by Yeshua. There was someone that asked him, one of the Pharisees that asked him, what is the greatest commandment? And he says, love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. And the second one is just like the first, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Jesus or Yeshua just summarized the Ten Commandments into separate structures, and the individual body, which is the first commandment, which is you, the land, law of the land, and the law of the sea. We can be able to see it as our relationship to other sovereign beings around us, or to any illusion that we construct or any agreement that we do. And the law of the land in the first commandment, I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt not have any other god before me. These words is very specific, and it speaks about the I am. I am the Lord thy God, and I am is not outside of us, and this must be very clear. It's not an illusion. It's the I am is within you, that is actually doing the thinking, that is actually doing the agreement, that is the grantor of deed, which is spelled in English God, God, grantor of deed. And this is the power for or the what we call in my language the mana that is within everyone, to give value to anything, to money, to an illusion, to any agreement, to any illusion that we want to create, to your name, to your identity. This is the power that is all within us, and thus the law of the land, which is ultimately the people. So the law of the air, the law of the water is actually just an agreement that the people create over time. And so if we decide to do trading or we do exchange, the grantor of deed is within us. It's a sovereign entity that is part of us, that is a creator, that comes down from our Father, that allows us to do all this, to create, to manifest, and to do whatever we want to create in this plane, whether it is good or whether it is bad. It will depend according to the lessons that we learn from ultimately experiencing the decision that we've already made. And this is ultimately very important, and that is the law of the land. Balancing the law of the land is the challenge that all of us are facing, which is the understanding of how you as a creator will be able to see what you've created. Will it benefit you alone, or will it benefit the people alone, or will it be balanced and will not do any harm? And this is the balance that we have been facing a challenge for over thousands of years till today. And thus the topic of sovereignty, and how this power that we have within us is actually managed and balanced. And in this book, in the Ten Commandments, it talks about I would like to speak about the first two commandments, which is the most important part of the Ten Commandments. I see that's the reason why it is the first and the second. Everything that comes after, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10, every changes that certain people have done, that it totally depends on the agreement of the sovereign entity within us. So the first commandment is, I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt not have any other God before me. It's directly speaking to the the grantor of deed that is within us, that is not outside of you. If you put it outside of you, that is your own decision. So the grantor of deed must be remembered that it's ultimately within us. This is sovereignty. If you give this power outside to an entity or to a thought form or to an illusion outside of your body, to something outside, an illusion would be money or any idol or any statue or anything that you think, or the flag or any agreement or the government. If you give the power outside to these illusions of creation that you've done, then ultimately you are not sovereign. The sovereignty has been agreed to be given outside. This must be understood before we move forward. So ultimately, sovereignty comes from within you. It is where you decide to give your sovereignty to, or to give what you call your love to, or an energy and time, which is ultimately the lesson of sovereignty that everyone will learn. So if money is sovereign in your life, then you are not sovereign yet. Something outside of yourself is sovereign. And so the first commandment, I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt not have any other God before me. So it's speaking to you. You are reading or you are thinking the words that you're reading, and it's talking about that force that I am that is within you, that is doing the reading, that is intelligent, that is alive, that is breathing, that is using the physical body, that is actually conducting every thought form in the body. This is what the first law in the Ten Commandments applies to. The second law is thou shalt not make any graven image or any likeness of anything that is up in the heavens above or in the earth below. Thou shalt not bow unto them and make the second commandment is very specific also. It simply means that you should not take your sovereignty and you give it to something outside of you, something you think that is somewhere in heaven or somewhere under the earth below or anywhere around you outside of yourself. And there's a curse that comes after that, because if you do that, then if you're lost in this illusion outside of yourself, whether it's in heaven or somewhere that you think that is there, then there'll be a lot of lessons of lost that you and your children and your children's children, third to the fourth generation, that you'll be learning. I'd like to continue discussing the words of Yeshua on the New Testament, that he speaks about the law, the greatest law, the greatest commandment, and commandment is equivalent to what you call a testament or an agreement or a contract. And this is basically what the Bible truly is. It's a fundamental agreement within a physical body and a spiritual essence of who we are, that is connected to the Father that is within us. And if you understand the spiritual notion of his life, Yeshua just were here just to set an example of the people will ask him, show us the Father, and he will say, you see me, you see the Father. And people don't understand these languages in those times, and it's really, really important for us to understand this now when we talk about sovereignty and our connection to the land, and the power that we have to create. Because ultimately the law of the land, the law of the sea, is actually run because of the negligence or the arrogance or the people, and don't fully understand who they are, or what is the embodiment of you as a physical spiritual body that has the authority to command, to have a decision, to make decision on your body, and the true awareness of who you are as a character. And thus Jesus, he spoke about this, and he said the greatest commandment is to love God, heart, mind, and the soul. And this is five what I call attributes of who you are. Your first attribute is love. Second attribute of you is God. Third attribute is your mind, your heart, and your soul. These are five attributes that this is actually state and to remind everyone that you are. This is the five attributes of who you are that needs to be united, that needs to be together. If you have everything and you don't have love within you, then there is imbalance and there's no sovereignty, because love is gone. If you have everything and you don't have the grant of it, or the will, or the sovereign free will, or the life force that is within you, then nothing. You won't be able to be a fully complete, a sovereign being. If you have love, if you have the grant or the good of will, and you don't have your mind, and your mind is misplaced, which is your body and your thought form, this will not complete the essence of a sovereign being. And this is a very important work that needs to be done individually for every individual. It cannot be done, it cannot be done by Yeshua or by me or by anyone. People everywhere around the world need to understand fully who they are and their true connection to the living creator that is within the land, that is around us. There is, ultimately, once you're fully connected, you'll understand. You're not separated from the air. You're not separated. You're all the unity. You're not separated from the water. You're not separated from the sun. You're not separated from all this. You are all this and much, much more. And this encompasses what the law of the land is. And this is very, very important for everyone to remember, because we have created illusions of ID, of names, and we think that we are these names that we've given us, and we've forgotten our true identity, which is the ultimate life force that is within us. And thus, all these names that you have in the restoration plan, the life force, and all this, they're just putting names into to things that is not supposed to have names. And that is all of you that is in this call today. And this is really, really important for all of you to understand. If you think that you're a name, then ultimately you are still lost in the law of the sea, and you don't have a claim, and you won't be able to restore your true essence to who you truly are as a sovereign being, because you'll be giving your sovereignty outside to an illusion that you've created. And I just want to say this because it's really, really important for each individual, because I will hear a lot of people saying and thinking that they are sovereign. Oh, I'm sovereign. I'm here on Ghana. We are sovereign. But ultimately, when you take a look within you and within your awareness and within what you think every day, and you will see that there are other power that all of you, or that you have given yourself your power to. There can be money, it can be politics, it can be all the hardships that you're facing. It can be some hidden things inside your heart that you believe so hard that you think it's so powerful. You can't do anything because you're afraid of this that is within you. Everyone has to dig deep within themselves to heal these imbalances of being lost and not being sovereign, because this is ultimately it's individual work that you have to do. So if you're thinking that somebody outside of you will come and save you, someone 2,000 years ago or 1,000 or in the future, then those things are very powerful, because you are believing and you are creating all this illusion. And if you are getting lost in this agreement that you've done unknowingly, then there is imbalance in your awareness, and you will be not sovereign, because these things will have power over you. And this is ultimately the reason why the law of the Ten Commandments is very, very important, that you understand that the living creator is in you, is the life force that you are, and there's no other power that's outside of it. And if you recognize any other, or if you are having fear about devil or anything, you are actually creating, and you are being lost in the illusion of your mind, and no one else will be able to take you out from it. And this is a healing that needs to be done. Everyone all over the planet has different levels of illusions, and different levels of creation that they are lost in. And I just want to discuss this so you'll be able to understand that sovereignty is a very important and a very deep subject as well. because it comes ultimately it comes down to an individual perspective for you of who you truly are. And as simple as it is, Jesus, as ultimately says that, I God love God, heart, mind, and soul. That's ultimately what you are. And the second commandment is simple. He said, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself." Yourself, the love for yourself, which is the understanding of who you truly are, is the most important part of this. If someone is not understanding, if he is viewing the restoration or the construct of reality according to his intellect, or according to what he learns in school, or according to his academics, then the illusion he has been lost, or she has been lost in this construct. Ultimately, you without any given knowledge, any given thing, is ultimately the sovereignty that is within you. And this must be understood first before any agreement is created. And once this is understood, and once everyone can become truly sovereign within, we can change the reality that we create, because we understand how to actually direct and control the way we think, the power of creation that we have, and we can undo all the damages that we've done because of which has been done out of the negligence of who we truly are. And so all the imbalances that exist on the planet right now are just all done because people were lost. They didn't know who they are. They didn't know their true connection to the land. They didn't know their true identity. They've been so lost in the idea of names, money, and they're thinking, they're not thinking about them, about the environment. They're not understanding who they are, and they just create all these imbalances and destruction because of this. And this is the motive. And ultimately, it comes down from the imbalances within individual. Once the balance is achieved within an individual or within everyone, everything outside of us will be done out of love, will be done out of balance. And this is the ultimate knowledge of sovereignty that needs to be understood. And people will be able to, like what Yeshua said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. This is what he termed the kingdom of God, kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God that is within us. And the return of the kingdom of heaven, or kingdom of God, is ultimately we, the people, understanding our true sovereignty and understanding the balance of creative energy that we project outside towards our fellow sovereign being around us. And this is something we discuss here with all the other elders and the chiefs of the tribes, so that everyone must understand this before we move and we continue to do a restoration, physical restoration of our community, of financial restoration, or political restoration, and all the level of restoration that needs to be restored into balance, so that everything can come into balance. The reason why I want to state that before we continue on the law of the land, or the law of the sea, is truly because every agreement that exists under law of the sea exists only because of this power, or because of the grant of deed that is within us. And this is very, very important. And I'm very thankful that I'm able to actually get that message across, because an individual understanding and how an individual has to master itself, or herself, or himself, is very, very important in this restoration. And not and being able to actually undo the separation, or the imbalances that we have caused ourselves. And this is ultimately the individual restoration of who we are as an individual. And understanding this to its full capacity and embodying it every day is very, I would say, is one of the most important thing in one's life. And this is what is termed in the Bible Christ, the word Christ. In my language, it's called Karisto, and it simply means the unity of the embodiment of sovereignty within you, which is all the differences of part of you, love, God, heart, mind, and the soul. And this unity of all these 5 elements and other elements that are in part of you, the water, the fire, the land, or the flesh, and all this unity comes together, and it's what you call a Christ. And an apostle in the Bible named Paul, he fully recognized this, and he says, it's no longer I that liveth, but the Christ that is, it's the source of my life, is the unity of Christ that is, that lives in me. And this is ultimately the sovereignty of each individual on the planet. And people has misrepresented the Christ, thinking that it's outside of them, outside somewhere, 2,000 years ago on a cross. And ultimately, Christ, Yeshua is just trying to tell you that the kingdom of God is within you, is in man. And I just want to state that before we go straight into the law of the sea, because the most important part of this awake or this restoration is this full realization of this fact, because this is a fact. And if you fully don't understand this, and then it will ultimately it will just continue the debt-based construct, the law of the sea, to prevail in your life, and you won't be able to change it. I speak about the last time I speak about what they call vessels on the law of the sea, and one of the vessels or the illusions that create an agreement is what you call your name, which is the individual, the words or the letters that is written in the birth certificate. And this is actually a construct or an illusion or what you call an agreement that is placed upon you when you're born. And the identity is taught within, to you in school, so that you think that you are this name. And ultimately people are actually moving around the planet or living in the planet thinking that they are their names, because all throughout the early childhood period, and also through the schools or through the secondary schools, the primary schools, and later, and through the work, the system, the workforce, people are so connected to their names. And it's in school every morning when they take the what they call the roster.
The roll call.
Yes, and they will call out your name, so that every single morning you should be connected, and you should be connected to this identity that they create. And this is ultimately the illusion that everyone is operating on the planet today. And this is how the law of the sea fully exists. It exists only in the names, in your name. And so money, business, every agreement cannot be done on the physical body. It can only be done on your name. And you can only buy and sell because of this identity, which is called under the law, it's called a vessel, or what they call the the strawman, which is a dead person that is not real, that is just you just believe that it is you. And this is an illusion to construct that we can create as a human being or as a living creator. And this is specifically why I spoke about the power that you all have to be able to believe and create any illusion and make it exist. And if you are operating in wherever you are on the planet, thinking that you are the name, then there's an individual restoration individual work that you have to do, so that you can fully understand who you are as who is the real you and who is not the real you. And this is very, very important for every individual to understand, especially to all of you that are in this call. You have to understand the difference between what your name is and your physical sovereign being, that is the physical body, that is intelligent, that can create, that has the blood, that has the life force that is running within you. And there is a difference, because I have to state this, because so many people don't fully understand that they are not their name. They think they are their name. And this is very, very important. If you operate on your name, then you are operating under law of the sea. Then you'll be binded in that law construct. And this is what every chief here in Fiji has understood, has fully understood, and was able to actually do their due diligence in the last 2 years, to try and fully understand how the metrics or the law of the sea systems has existed, and all these mechanics, which has different systems like the banking system, the political system, the education system, the health system, and all the different ministries that exist within a governance of control. That is only control under your name, and it's called what you call the public, or your public identity, it comes under the public fund, which is called the public administration. And all this exists only in that in all in words, in papers, under license, and what you call your birth certificate, your death certificate, your marriage certificate, all the different the construct of the way they administer the illusions of your identity is actually what the matrix is all about. And understanding this and understanding who you are fully will actually help you in restoring your true self and your true identity. The existence of the law of the sea and the way they've constructed the matrix, or the whole entire control system of the planet, and how they all have overruled the what you call the law of the land, which is the people. And I'm really thankful that so many of you were able to understand these illusionary construct that exist only on paper. I personally always call it the paper matrix, because every law or the legal construct exists only on paper. If it's on paper, then it has evidence. Then it is contract binding, and that's how this whole entire system exists. And we are very, fortunate that we are now in a current time that the what I would call the foundation or the root of this illusionary construct, which is termed in the Bible the Babylon system, is actually the now it is changed. It's a very unique opportunity that we are in right now, and this is really the reason why it's very, very important for this discussion to happen. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be the instrument, to be sharing this with all of you, my sovereign brothers and sisters, in the Latin American continent. The existence of the current metrics, and how it's been existing for the past decades, or 40 to 50 years, they've tried to implement the banking system, the political system, and they've been so successful in getting everyone to be in what I call in this dream. It's it started out in the Bible. If you've read the book of Daniel, there was the king Nebuchadnezzar. He had a dream. He forgot about the dream, and then he was looking for someone to translate, tell him what he dreamt, and because he dreamt it, but he has forgotten the dream, and he doesn't even know the meaning. And so, if you know the story, if you all understand the story, Daniel came and was able to tell him the dream and translate the dream for him. And ultimately, the dream is talking about the statue of a man with a head of gold, body of silver, thighs bronze, the calf muscles and the legs are iron, and right on the heel right down to the heel, and the toes are lead. Clay and iron. And this dream, as I may say, it's not just Nebuchadnezzar's dream. It is currently right now is everyone's dream on the planet. If the restoration is not done, everyone will be dreaming in this dream. And that's ultimately the construct of all the political system that is established right from the time of Babylon, Media Persia, Greeks, the Romans, and right down to this time. And the dream is it's just talking about ultimately a dream, and the matrix is just a dream. It's dreaming about gold, silver, which is money, and everyone is in this dream together. And it's just just to simplify it, there's a rock that came down from heaven, and it hits the heel of the toes of the statue, and in the dream, the statue was this big statue was able to be demolished, and it's withered away, and it was destroyed. And thus, talking about this dream that we are talking about right now, and this is what is actually the dream, and we're just discussing the construct of the whole entire illusion of money, that the database system that has been enslaving everyone for these thousands of years, and to be able to do the restoration. This has to be the illusion. Everyone has to wake up from this dream, so that the metaphorically, the people will be able to remember who they are and their sovereignty, and this statue won't be sovereign in our lives anymore. And I just want to put that as a sample, because the dream, it's not just Nebuchadnezzar's dream. It's been here till right now, and here in Fiji, we've woken up from that dream, and we've taken control of the illusions that has been overlaying our awareness through the education system, the religious construct. We are able to master ourselves and the way we see things, and the sovereignty that needs to be restored within everyone is so important, so that it allows everyone on the planet to be able to wake up from these thousands of years dream that is still now being maintained. And we are really lucky now that what the energy that used to maintain the dream is now in our own control, which is what I want to discuss, which is the trust. And now we have the capability to work together in unity with everyone on the planet to restore ourselves, take the illusions of money away, and being able to master, create a new economic system, a new financial system, where people will become truly sovereign, and no longer be submitted to money, and being enslaved every day, trying to become millionaires, trying to become maintain or become enslaved in the dream. And that's ultimately the law of the sea. For us here in Fiji, we have taken ownership of our names, or what you call the strawman, and it becomes our own vessels now, because it operates under law of the sea. All our vessels that operates under law of the sea, whether it's a religious vessel, whether it's an organization, whether it's a government, anything that runs on money is actually it comes under vessels under law of the sea, and that's the word current of the sea, or currency, which is the current money, or the current monetary system, or the banking system right now. And this being able to wake up from this dream and master your own what they call the vessel, or become postmaster of your own body, of your own mind, of your own soul, and own the identity or the name that you have, you'll be able to take yourself outside from out away from the law of the sea. And anyone that want to use your vessel or use your name, maybe to do a legal, or can say something legal against you, you'll be able to charge everyone, because you now have a vessel, you now own the vessel. And I think in the next time that we're going to speak deeply about the mechanics of the law of the sea, and how people all over the planet will be able to undo some of this structure and agreements through the Universal Postal Union agreement or construct, and will be able to claim your vessel. And so, and ultimately, you'll be able to master the vessel. And so, if anyone wants to use a vessel, or wants to take you to court, or have a legal, maybe submission against you, you will be able to charge everyone, because no one is allowed to use your vessel, because you now become the owner. It's just like a boat. If they want to hire your vessel, you can charge them. You can just understanding the construct, you'll be able to master the land. You can construct your own law of trust to protect your land, native land, so that the legal system or the law of the sea doesn't come to the law of the land, and and because you have you don't know anything, you don't understand who you are and the power that you have, and you lack the legal awareness, and people are destroyed, their lands are taken, are mined, and this can be stopped simply just being able to understand who you are as a sovereign being, and being able to be able to use the power that you have, the living creator that is your father that is within you, and use the power that comes with that gift, and take over and master the law of the sea that is now prevalent. And I look forward to all the discussion that we will be able to have, and we'll be able to more understanding for everyone else. Here in Fiji, people have learned to actually register their names under the Reverse Postal Union, so it's registered under their physical agreement name, the fact name, and it comes with the language, with the grammar, so that it has a correct grammar, so that it's not an illusion, but it actually becomes a fact, because we are the master of that fact. And this is very, very important for the discussion maybe in the future, because it will take maybe 2 to 3 more hours to discuss about that, and people can take part in it, do it in the different parts of the planet that you're from, because the Universal Postal Union is all over the planet. It is what you call the global government. Any post office that's near you, if there's a post office under you, then you are all under the global government. And the voted government is just an illusion, but ultimately the police, the military, and all this comes under the global a postmaster general, which controls the whole entire matrix. And like I said, we are now in a very opportune time, because we now have the ability to get connected to the trust, and being able to create our own current of the sea. And thus, it's really, really important that people understand who they are as the sovereign people of the land, and being able to master the illusion or the names or the identity, and being able to take advantage of what is in the trust that belongs to you. So if you don't understand, then you won't be able to know the role that you have to play with the trust,